Canadian, Nigerian outer space lawyer walks into a bar. No, that's not the beginning of a joke. That was me last night.
The thing that I often introduce myself with, it's kind of like my little in-joke. I usually say, a British, Canadian, Nigerian outer space lawyer living in the USA walks into a bar. Usually when that happens, everyone is in shock and laughs out loud. How does someone even have that kind of title? Well, when that same lady, that would be me, is at the expo, no one is really surprised. As you walk down the hallowed streets of Jubilee Park or the Sustainability District as I did yesterday, you'll be amazed at what you'll find. My country of birth, the United Kingdom Pavilion, is inspired by the space guy, Stephen Hawking.
I grew up not caring at all about space. I was not interested in space. My dad at 15 took me to NASA. I found it super, super boring. But when I was 24 years old, I went to law school in Nigeria. And when you graduate from university, you have to do a year's service for the country. And I was posted to the newly formed Nigerian Space Agency as the first legal and policy advisor at that agency. And it was just so fascinating to experience space from a developing country perspective, because you have to get real granular about why anyone should care. And it was there that I got the passion for space, because it was like, why is this important? And every day people are saying, we don't even have electricity, we don't even have water, people are starving, and you guys are talking about having satellites in Africa. And I was like, yeah, it's important, because we need to, if you just spend every day thinking about poverty alleviation, for instance, you will never develop, because there's always going to be these problems, right? Even in America, if you go to Washington, D.C. by bus, you'll be shocked, because the poverty is kind of everywhere. So does that mean we shouldn't go to Mars as Americans? No. So when you actually, so sometimes I think all the NASAs of the world, some people are interested in that and some people are not. Some people are interested in, how do we advance as a society? What are the things we need to do? And what are the different kinds of examples? So I like to tell my story, because I'm like, just because you weren't into NASA or just because you're not into Star Trek doesn't mean you can't be into space. There's a whole bunch of really interesting questions that we can look at.
Now I see being a Black woman as a strength, because in this day and age where you need different perspectives to be able to solve global issues, you need the African woman at the table. So the African woman who you before was at the bottom of the totem pole, I would say now is climbing up fast.
I'm really excited for this final panel, because this is where we're really going to put it all together, and where all the conversations around space for sustainable development, the future of space, the future of multilateralism, what we can do as individuals, this is where we're going to focus on talking about those issues.
We need to have truly inclusive space cooperation, international space cooperation. We need to be able to work together, and the International Space Station basically was a great start. But with the new infrastructure projects coming online, for instance, NASA's Lunar Gateway project, the interesting question is, who's going to be invited to the table? Who are going to be the participants? And what are the participation mechanisms going to look like?
I'm Dr. Timiebi Aganaba. You can call me Timmy. I'm an assistant professor at the School for the Future of Innovation in Society, where we believe that the future is for everyone. And this is at Arizona State University in the USA. My purpose today is to moderate a discussion between Mark Mulholland and Stuart Bain. Now, why is this such a big deal, and why did I agree to this? Well, Mark is currently a MITRE employee serving as the chief engineer for space traffic management and space situational awareness at the Office of Space Commerce at the U.S. Department of Commerce. Now, he has 44 years of government and private sector experience in design, acquisition, launch, on-orbit operations, space situational awareness, space debris mitigation. Like, I could go on and on and on. He is an innovative problem solver, strategic thinker, fiscal planner, articulate diplomat, and consensus builder at the highest levels of the Department of Commerce, NOAA, NASA, the Department of Defense, the intelligence community, and the international space sectors. So we're really going to enjoy his comments and insights today. We also have with us Stuart Bain. Stuart Bain is the CEO and co-founder of North Star Earth and Space, a Canadian company that is developing an information service company to help protect life on Earth and in space. Now, this discussion today will begin to examine the threats and the opportunities of space. We will then examine some tough questions, and through the experiences of both Stuart and Mark, we will try and carve out a narrative about how we can collectively develop space sustainability.
Where you started off by asking the audience to close their eyes and picture what came to their mind when you said the words space and society. So I thought it'd be cool to ask you that question. What comes to your mind's eye when you hear those two words?
So it's really interesting because if you try and Google that, you won't really find much. So my title at Arizona State University is actually Professor of Space and Society. So I've really had some time to think about what are those two words put together? What does it actually mean? And what images come to mind? And the first thing that always comes to mind for me is that Earthrise picture that was taken by William Anders on the Apollo 8 mission, whereby they took this picture of the Earth rising from the moon's surface. And that picture is basically attributed to starting the environmental movement because it was the first time we really saw the fragility of Earth. And we really saw that Earth is just this one bubble that we have to be so careful and conscious about. And I think when I think of that image, then it really, connects us because it means that we are just one planet. We only have one planet that we can take care of. And that image really solidified and got that into the minds of everyone. So that's really what I think of when I think of space and society. Of course, there are all these other images that come to mind based on science fiction, kind of like of space settlements and seeing communities up in space. We're still pretty far from there, but those discussions are getting more and more mainstream, especially as Elon Musk is saying that he wants to take people to Mars by the end of this decade. But I think at the end of the day, that connection between space and society is essentially saying, what is the role of the individual? How do we connect all these big visions that we have to the societal issues that are going on, and space not being something that is too far away or surreal anymore?